Welcome to American History 1301 Flex 1. My name is Professor Peter Fernandez, and I want to welcome you to my course, my online course. Right now I'm going to go over the syllabus, which is located in Canvas, so if you want to follow along, that's fine. If not, you can go back later and look at the written copy. First of all, I am located on campus. I teach the majority of my classes face-to-face, but this is my online class, and I do have office hours. My office is located in Pecan Hall, room 102L, and I will be in there on Tuesdays from about 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., but you do need to schedule an appointment since I'm in many committees, so I may not be there. In addition, I'm in Live Oak Hall every morning, Monday through Thursday from 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. I have classes in that building, and so I find myself always in that classroom. So if you're an early morning person, let me know ahead of time, and I can meet you before my 8 o'clock class, anywhere from 6:30 in the morning to 8 in the morning. Just give me a heads up so I make sure I don't schedule anybody else. That being said, I check my email regularly, and I'm pretty good about getting back to you as soon as I can. Now, textbooks. I usually require 2 textbooks, and I understand textbooks are really expensive. So what I've done is I've just required 1 textbook be purchased or commandeered, whatever way you want to do it, and that is going to be this book, Thinking Through the Past, Volume 1, Edition 5. You will need this book. Don't try to skate by without having the book and think you can do it. Last semester, I had 2 people that they were doing assignments on readings from this book, and they went on the internet and it was the wrong readings. They may have the same title, but it was the wrong readings. So you do need this book. The second book, which I used to have my students purchase, I have placed the primary sources in Canvas for you to read. So if you look through the modules, each module will have a PDF or 2 PDFs where I went ahead this summer and I found the primary sources and cited them, so you don't have to buy the book. You still need to read them. They're in Canvas, but you don't have to buy that book. The only book you really need to get is Thinking Through the Past. The other readings I found and put in Canvas, and you'll see if you go through it how it's laid out. Now, once again, this is 1301, so we'll start at the colonial period of America and pretty much go through the Civil War. So that's the timeline for this course. How do you get your grade? What's the evaluation? Your grade is going to be based on reading quizzes from this book and from the readings that I've posted in Canvas. 30% of your grade. And you'll also have analyses from the reading. Primary source analysis and secondary source analysis would be 30%. You will have a module discussion post where I'll put a question in the discussion for that module, and you will answer it based on everything you've read, everything I've put in the lecture and the analysis. And your post is worth 70 points or 70% of that grade. And then you need to reply to a fellow student and their post, and and they'll do the same for you. So 70% for your initial post, which is going to be about 300 words, and then your reply is worth 30% or 30 points, which equal 100. And then the last part of your grade is based on a public history project, which I'll go to later in the semester. This is actually only worth 10%. It's kind of takes the place of a final exam. Where you'll create a video project. Everyone can use their phone, and I'm going to give out a list of public spaces here in San Antonio and around San Antonio that I would like you to visit and research, and then make a short video about that space, its historic importance, and other aspects of it. But I'll go into more detail later in the semester. We use the standard grades of 90 to 100 as an A, 80 to 89 as a B, and so forth and so on. Now, each module, other than the first module, this first week is kind of weird. We start on a Monday. The first module, Module 1, will be basically information for you regarding help, regarding how to do assignments, how to do primary source analysis and critical thinking analysis. So Module 1 is shortened. It's going to be Monday, starting today, through Thursday. Modules in the future, and starting this Friday, will open up Friday and close the following Thursday. So our modules after this first one start on Friday and end on Thursday. So it's a little weird. So the module actually starts on Friday. You have Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Now, in each module after this first one, so starting module 2, you'll have 2 reading quizzes. Module 2 will have part A and part B. So part A, it will have a reading quiz, and part B will have a reading quiz. But the quizzes is just on the readings for part A. I know it sounds confusing when I say it out loud, but when you see the module, it's very broken down methodically, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Classroom policies. It's just like a face-to-face class, but online. I do not accept late work. There are hard due dates. This is not an online course, and Northwest Vista really doesn't offer online courses where you can turn in everything at the end of the semester and kind of blow it off the first 7 weeks. Because this is, and I didn't stress this at the beginning, is a flex course. So it's only 8 weeks. I have 8, no, I have 8. 8 weeks long. So you're kind of getting a full semester or 16 weeks in half the time. So there, and I kind of sent out the letter and the announcements that there is a lot of reading. It's not that much. It's just, if you're not used to reading from high school, this is college. You got to read. Take the book to work, or take it to wherever you need to go, or print out the readings I have in Canvas. But you need to read to pass the quizzes and to do the assessments. So you got to do it. But that being said, there are hard due dates. So module 1, in fact, this first module right now that closes on Thursday, you have an assignment. It's an introduction. You're going to introduce yourself and tell you what you think about history and why history is important. So that's pretty much should be an easy A, right? But starting the module 2, you'll have another discussion. You'll have quizzes. You'll have a reply to a discussion. That's where the rubber meets the road, and you really need to keep on track of things, because you need to do the quizzes, the assessments, and the discussion posts by the due dates, or else it'll be a 0, and those add up pretty fast. Okay. Plagiarism, don't do it. We all know what that is: copying someone else's work without giving them credit for citations. Also, I had an issue with my last online class that they got together, or out there on the internet, they were in a chat room, and they turned in the same papers. Don't do it. It doesn't make sense, because I grade them all, and I'm pretty good about saying this is the same paper as someone else's. So do your own work. It's simple. Or else it's a 0, and I would turn that into the appropriate academic board for the possibility of withdrawal or expulsion, worst case. Be respectful in this course, just like I would expect in a face-to-face course. Be respectful. I believe academia, meaning education, is one of the few places that there should be a safe area regarding opinions and the free exchange of new ideas, regardless of politics or social viewpoint. Be respectful, and I think that'll make the class a lot better, and on a side note, society better in general. Okay, so I'm tolerant to a point. I read all the discussion posts. I will, in fact, weekly, you'll have another announcement from me, not as long as this one, of course. But if I see something going in the wrong direction, or someone posting in their discussion boards inappropriate material or inappropriate language or discriminatory terminology of any sort, I will shut that down, and I will ask you to withdraw from my class, or I will drop you from my class. So that's enough said about that. We all know what that means. If you have any issues with this course, let me know. Send me an email. I'm not familiar. I mean, I can Skype, but come by my office, set up an appointment, or just email me if you have a concern. A lot of students will email me and they didn't understand something, or they have an issue with maybe a fellow student, even in an online environment. And usually we can settle any issues that you may have with the course. But if you don't feel that your issue or your question has been answered to your satisfaction, there is a chain of command regarding how to go about it. If I can't handle it, but please give me the opportunity to try to handle your issue or your complaint or your question, then you would talk to Tony Canistero. This is all in Canvas, so don't be trying to write everything down that I'm talking about. But Tony Canistero is the history coordinator, and she would be the person after talking to me if you still have issues. If Tony, she is unable to satisfy you, then you would go to Kim McClurg. She's the chair of our department. And then if Kim McClurg can't help you or you feel she hasn't helped you to the best of her ability, then you can always go to the Dean of Arts and Sciences, which is Dr. Charles Hinckley. This chain of command is listed in Canvas, so hopefully that won't be an issue. Let me know first, and most of the time I can handle it, or we can figure out some sort of accommodation. Okay. I have the Canvas. I have a split screen up, so I'm looking at what you guys are looking at module-wise. So Module 1 is going to be starting today. This should be basically my video introduction, which you're looking at this moment. And then it's going to have it broken up into an A and B part. The A will be like services and resources that are available to you. So I want you to go through this just to look it over. There's no quizzes on this. It talks to you about the tutoring services available to you, the writing labs, and things like that. Part B is actually more aligned with what you need to succeed in this course, meaning it gives you an introduction, pretty much what I'm doing right now, how to communicate online. It goes into detail of what a primary source and a secondary source are, which you really need to know. Primary source being like a library, a journal entry, a diary, a photograph, primary, right? A secondary source is more along the lines of maybe a textbook, another historian's work. So I have what a primary and secondary source are listed in Module 1. I have some active reading strategies. If you read something you still don't understand, or maybe you've always had issues with comprehension, I have like a help sheet, reading strategies. And then I have a couple of handouts in there of how to complete a primary source analysis and a critical thinking analysis, because you'll have either one or one of the two, in each module after one. So one of your assignments will either be a primary source analysis where you're going to read a primary source and you need to do an analysis on it, or you're going to read a critical thinking analysis and you need to do a critical thinking, you're going to read a secondary source, I apologize, and you're going to have to write a critical thinking analysis on that. So I have guidelines in Module 1. Part C of Module 1 is that introductory discussion. So that's what you're going to need to do before August 28th. Okay, you're going to have an introductory discussion, and basically I'm going to welcome you like I'm doing right now, and I'm going to want you to introduce yourself to the class, and then I'm just going to want you to, in a few sentences or more, what you hope to learn in this course. So your first discussion, worth 100 points, is going to be an introduction of yourself and what you hope to learn in this class. And then I also, if you want to reply to fellow students, look them over and respond to at least one fellow student, and that's an easy 100 points to start the course off, right? Okay. Now next week, starting this Friday, Module 2 will start this Friday. It'll open up and you'll have another video introduction by myself. With a little bit overview of what Module 2 will talk about, what I'm looking for, and then you'll have the readings listed. It'll have the PDF readings, the ones that I found for you this summer, so you didn't have to buy the book, but it'll also have what you need to read from the book I do need you to get, right? It's broken up into two parts, Part A, Part B. Do them in order, do the quizzes in order, and then I do have lectures. It's kind of like slideshows with me talking over them. They're as interesting, of course, to a historian, but I try to make them short. Don't take a lot of notes on my video lectures or my PowerPoints that I'm talking about. I'm pretty good about telling you what I'm looking for. So as I'm going through my lecture, don't be trying to write every word I say, because that's crazy. I'll pretty much stress what I'm looking for and what I want you to remember, the takeaway, right? So don't work harder. I want you to work smarter. Once again, do the reading and pay attention to the lectures, and I'll let you know on the lectures what I'm looking for. You'll have at the end of that, after Module 2, A and B are completed, you'll have a group discussion on colonial life and issues. And once again, you'll need to do your part, and then you'll need to reply to a fellow student or students. Okay, that's about it. I know this took a little bit longer than I'd like, but I want to introduce myself. Once again, I'm Professor Peter Fernandez. I want to welcome you. This is a flex course, so we're going to be Zooming. There's going to be a lot of reading, and it may seem overwhelming, but you can do it. And once again, after 8 weeks, come mid-October, you're done with half of history required, right? You're done with 1301, and then you can go on to 1302, which I do teach a 1302 online, 1302 face-to-face class. Flex 2. So if you want to try the other, I do have a Flex 2 face-to-face class. All right, good luck. Be sure to, I check my email regularly. I stop checking email Friday about 4 o'clock, and then I pick it up like Sunday night. So just like everybody else, I do need some time off. But in all honesty, I check my email during the weekend also. So if you need to get a hold of me, it's pretty simple, and I'll email you right back. Thanks. Have a great first week, and I will talk to you later.